The sound that you hear is the immense satisfaction and quiet relief felt by Kemi as the Conservative leader takes in the latest news on reform's implosion. The feud between leader Nigel Farage and errant MP Rupert Lowe began last January when the Conservative Party's secret agent Elon Musk trashed Farage and said reform should get itself a new leader. Presumably, the world's richest man did not know that Reform was a company owned by Farage. But surely Lowe, who Musk suggested was a better leadership candidate, should have known better. Lowe clearly underestimated the consequences of going public with his contempt for Farage's politics. Lowe's departure from Reform's standard practice of Farage worship stems from his wish to nudge the party further to the right. His willingness to support the jailed firebrand Tommy Robinson and to deport 1 million illegal immigrants has won Lowe applause among Britain's hard-right fanatics. But as the British National Party discovered 2 decades ago, wild cheering does not always translate into votes in a first-past-the-post system. Farage knows that his party's chances of supplanting the Tory party as the natural home of right-of-centre voters would nosedive sharply if he was to be surrounded by fringe lunatics. By distancing himself from any efforts to reach out to the likes of Robinson, Farage left Lowe with a choice of a return to message discipline or the political wilderness. Lowe, however, saw another pathway, that of the party hijack. He used an interview in the Daily Mail to set out his misgivings about Messiah Farage, underlining wider concerns that Reform was a party of protest. Nigel is a fiercely independent individual and is extremely good at what we have done so far, Lowe told the Daily Mail hack. He has got messianic qualities. Will those messianic qualities distill into sage leadership? I don't know. Lowe then questioned Farage's stewardship of reform, stating that we have to start behaving as if we are leading and not merely protesting. Nigel is a messianic figure who is at the core of everything, but he has to learn to delegate, as not everything can go through one person. I'm not going to be by Nigel's side at the next election, unless we have a proper plan to change the way we govern from top to bottom. A furious party machine hit back within hours of the story's publication, with a series of allegations against Lowe, which police are now investigating. Lowe returned fire with a passive-aggressive social media post. "Infighting serves nobody but our enemies," he declared. This could have all been resolved with even the most basic level of communication. I do not believe that Reform members will be pleased to know that their membership fees are being spent on instructing expensive lawyers to investigate their own MPs over matters that are entirely baseless and have been dealt with in the correct parliamentary procedure, with HR's full involvement and support. Lowe added that a complete inability to accept even the most mild constructive criticism without such a malicious reaction is not effective leadership. This is our party as much as it is Nigel's. Reform's turmoil continued through the weekend. Lowe is now out on his own. Farage is keeping a low profile, and used as he is to bad publicity, and Ben Habib, the last high-profile Reform Party official to be ousted after challenging the Messiah, is touring London media salons to say "I told you so." The long-term impact of the Farage-Lowe feud is uncertain. It certainly makes sense for Farage to bring Lowe back into the fold, if only to remove the uncertainty the dispute creates about his credentials as a successful party leader. For the first time in years, Farage is not driving this communication war and must counter criticism of his party management skills. Having lost Musk's support and 20% of his Westminster personnel in a matter of 3 months, Farage no longer has the swagger of the man with the sure touch, who could break the mold of British politics. Despite the Clacton MP's loud objection, it could be that Reform fares no better than the Social Democratic Party of 40 years ago. Then, a new party emerged, to the right of Labour, with a mission to destroy the two-party system. Led by 4 deeply experienced and telegenic politicians with national profile, the Social Democrats were for a time an existential challenge to the Labour Party after its 1983 election landslide defeat, and looked capable of consigning the old party to the rubbish bin of history. impressive by-election victories and a strong media support added to the sense of ineluctable triumph, until the realities of British machine politics intervened. The Social Democratic Party did not make the breakthrough its leaders hoped for, and within a decade, was incorporated within the Liberal Party to become a footnote of British political history. Might reform suffer the same fate? The right of British politics is a rat's nest of infiltration, betrayal, and bitter disappointment. Rupert Lowe may believe that his harder line on immigration is a vote winner, but he will only be able to prove it by splitting from the party and finding another political home. There will be financial backers for this project and some antipodean media oxygen, but the net effect of a new party to the right of reform will be to cannibalize the hard right vote and keep Labour in power for another parliament. That is for the future. For now, Kemi Badenoch's heart must only gladden at the prospect of reform dashing itself onto the rocks of political infighting and splits. The party has always been the stone in the Conservative shoe that she struggled to remove. No matter what Badenoch said or did, Reform voters remained mostly unresponsive. As long as the party captivated the British media, Badenoch's position as leader and the Conservatives' rejection of Robert Ginrick in last year's selection contest would remain on the political agenda. The North West Essex MP will now hope to capitalise on Farage's discomfort by amplifying Rupert Lowe's media message so as to underline her point that Reform is not a party of government. If Reform withers as a political force, perhaps Badenoch will be able to train her guns squarely on the Prime Minister and show that she has the right stuff to lead her party. But simultaneously, Badenoch must still grapple with the problem of how to quieten the media chatter that she is out of her depth as the Conservatives' leader. Her recent PMQ's performance was more measured and earned a positive reception, but could not prevent media political knives being sharpened ahead of what is expected to be catastrophic May local election results. Reform's internecine squabble may not enhance the Tory share of the vote, and as party leader, Badenoch is the person to blame. In a YouTube video, the New Statesman's Andrew Marr discussed whether the Conservative leader is already finished as Tory party boss. Elsewhere, Kelvin Mackenzie, once the most feared man in British journalism, publicly joined the lengthening list of KB skeptics. The Conservative strategy will surely be to downplay expectations ahead of the May poll. Messengers will spend much of next month arguing that the party should not expect to retain the many seats gained under Boris Johnson's mandate, when the party had just secured an 80-seat majority. The effect will be minimal. The Conservatives are projected to do poorly in the May elections. If Badenoch survives the summer rancor, it will be because the party's power brokers do not believe that there is anyone who would do a better job at this stage of the electoral cycle. All in all, Kemi Badenoch stumbles on unconvincingly. So for now, let her take pleasure in drinking Nigel Farage's tears. Thank you for listening to this podcast from our master's blankets. We are delighted to have your attention. Please like and share this podcast. And whilst you're here, please subscribe to this channel. This helps us to keep going and to reach more people with our updates on Kemi Badenoch's leadership of the Conservative Party and the challenges she faces. See you next time.